Hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today the 22nd of May 2013. In today's show we have an interview with the devs on patch 5.3 and a quick run over the hotfixes of 5.3. There's already been one out of the gate and yeah, should be a pretty good show. So first off we have an interview. This was, I believe, with Games Radar. I'll just check. Sorry, Gamebreaker. And lots of interesting things, quite a long interview, and a lot of good points to come out with. So first of all, they covered subscription numbers. Now if you don't know, Warcraft fell from 9 point something, I think 9.6 million to 8.3 after the last quarter of that we had the earnings call on. And here's what they have to say about it. So first of all, subs mainly come back for new expansions, with patches helping a little bit, and they think that the faster patches, which we've definitely seen, it's less than 3 months since 5.2 and 5.3 is here already, so they think these faster patches will help with player retention. I definitely think that's right. As long as there's a constant stream of content, people will be interested. Now, people also mention, actually, this is interesting to me, that they feel the game changes too fast when they quit. And in case you're wondering how they got this stat, when you try to cancel your subscription for World of Warcraft, they ask you, if you're quitting, and you're, actually leaving the game and not changing your subscription method or something like that. They ask you why, and I suppose that maybe is come from people of that form. So I'm going to think that it's maybe not that the changes are too fast, but it's actually that Blizzard do a poor job of explaining to people what's changing outside of those who read fan sites, which they also go on to say are actually the people that are in the minority. So, interesting stuff all around there. Now I have some talk on patch 5.2 and PvP. So they said that the changes in patch 5.2 were meant to address the different tiers of PvE gear by matching them with different PvP tiers. So, it was interesting. The two tiers sort of had, I suppose, equivalent levels of gear. It was quite strange. But what made this really messy was actually upgraded items. It just screwed around with the item levels to the point where there was clear imbalances, and people who were able to get upgraded items were at quite an advantage. I also feel that the talent changes they made in patch 5.2 were too damn extreme. And we saw this quite a lot in the previous dailies, looking at patch notes and that kind of thing. And that's why in patch 5.3 they've toned back a few of those changes. Also, they said that World PvP is mainly down to the number of players, and they don't think that gear really comes into it that much. I mostly agree with this, when it just comes down to the raw amount of CCs and stuff like that you have available. Although, in a smaller sample size of players, you can definitely get people who are good at PvP and are well geared. They can take on 1, 2, maybe even 3 people, and I've seen that, so yeah, interesting enough. Now, they've also said that after patch 5.3, the Conquest gear the way they've done it is sort of, Conquest gear will let you start raiding, and PvE gear will let you start PvP. That's just the way the item levels sort of align, and that's quite good. Of course, neither is going to be optimal for either of the two roles, I suppose, but it's a stepping stone, and I think that's more than there was previously, so it's definitely quite good. Now, there's a new feature in that you can queue as a role for Battlegrounds. And queuing as the wrong role doesn't actually give you a faster queue, so you can't just hop in the healer queue and be fast-tracked there. What it will do is mess up healer counts, so your team's going to be at a disadvantage, because the game will think you're a healer when you're actually a DPS or something, you're just being a scumbag to skip a queue that you don't actually skip, and then your team will have one less healer, and there's a good chance that one less healer is going to be what makes you lose the game, especially in randoms. So people really need to watch out for that. They've also said that they had problems with graveyard camping in Warsong Gulch, but they think that a good solution would be similar to in Deepwind Gorge, where there's actually 2 graveyards, so if you're being spawn camped at one, you'll spawn at the other. Of course, we can't actually play Deepwind Gorge, it's been taken out due to an issue that I'll cover later. And they've also said that their favourite kind of CC has a cast time and is interruptible, and they think the worst is instant, and I have to agree. Now, moving quickly on, we have PvE. They've said the original scenarios are too easy in light of the current item level. The new batch, even in normal mode, are still a little bit harder, which is sort of nice to see. They said the Throne of Thunder was massive, and it definitely was, and took a lot of time from the team. Dragon Soul was smaller, but they also had 5 mans done, and they think that doing the 5 mans was to the detriment of the raid. They did, however, say, and this is pretty interesting, that they feel the team is progressing to the point where they'll be able to do a Throne of Thunder style raid and a dungeon in the same patch and have them both be large and good quality. So I think that would really be fantastic. That would be the dev team hitting their stride. when it comes to content patches. Also said that Tier 14 was a bit easier in 10-man, and this suited the audience well, and that there's not many normal mode only 25-man guilds. Interesting things to take away, and I think it really stands to reason and makes quite a bit of sense. Yeah, so woohoo for sense from Blizzard, right? Now there's also been a bunch of 5.3 hotfixes. Now I'm not going to go over the class ones. At the end of the day, you know your class better than me. I'd hope. Because if it's not a hunter, I know fuck all about it. And yeah, so I'm going to skip those, but you'll see them on the screen. As for quests, the Path of the Last Emperor quest, Seer Haupamru, something like that, should no longer be overlapping with Lore Walker Cho. I'm sure Cho didn't really appreciate that, so you know what, it's like a whole new game. For creatures, they've now fixed an issue with Galleon, and he's using the correct loot table. For raids, in Karazhan they've increased the delay between enemy chess piece movement. And this is interesting, the chest encounter in Karazhan used to be soloable, but when the new expansion dropped, it was pretty much impossible to solo. I think it actually was impossible. So I think this is a fix to that, very nice. So if you want to go solo Kara, try and get your, I believe it's the head of Prince Melikar or whatever, you can do that. For scenarios, they've also fixed a problem where players wouldn't shapeshift back to their original race after completing other factions daily. So yeah, it's crazy good. For PvP, the Glorious Conquest Quartermasters have been temporarily disabled, while they fix an issue with the Tyrannical Conquest achievement. The problem with the achievement itself is it's supposed to be unlocked at 25,000 conquest points, but it's actually being unlocked at far less. And then Big Zoc Torquewrench is back. He's a guy in Netherstorm that sells older PvP weapons. So that's pretty cool. Now for Battlegrounds and Arenas, as I mentioned above, well, not above, earlier, Deepwind Gorge has been removed from the pool while they fix a base capping issue. And finally, we're just going to round it off with the Barons. They have fixed a problem where overturned caravans didn't despawn, and fixed the map icon so that it appear and disappear correctly for destroyed caravans. So that's it for today's show. Overall, pretty interesting. Patch 5.3's just dropped, so it's probably a whole surge of changes, talk, that kind of thing. Currently, I've done 2 scenarios, and I haven't actually got into Battlefield Barons yet. I'm going to try to get a lot of that done. Maybe get some sort of guide video out to help people get acclimatized to the new stuff. That's it for the show. Please like and sub if you like the show. I sort of hate to ask this, but while I'm a small YouTuber, I kind of need to, or else nobody will watch the shit. So yes, please do that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.